Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. If you're a parent or an educator, you already know the drill. Teaching math to children with autism can sometimes feel like a real uphill battle. You're trying so hard to make numbers click for a kid who just processes the world a bit differently. But what if the roadblock isn't the math itself? What if it's just the way we're presenting it? Today, we're going to explore some simple, absolutely game-changing multisensory techniques that completely flip the script on how we teach basic counting skills.
Now, this might sound pretty counterintuitive if you've been struggling at the kitchen table, but get this. Research actually shows that learners with autism tend to naturally excel in math. Seriously, they often have this amazing innate talent for systems and logic. The catch, though, is that this talent usually stays locked away until we adapt to their unique learning preferences. We just need the right multisensory keys to unlock that potential. So, here is our roadmap for today. First, core principles for teaching math. Second, multisensory number recognition. Third, mastering rote counting skills. Fourth, one-to-one correspondence. And fifth, using manipulatives for operations.
All right, part one, core principles for teaching math.
Before we even think about counting anything, we really need to lay down some ground rules that cater directly to how autistic children process information. Basically, there are three main principles here. Step one, move from the concrete to the abstract. Because these learners are often highly visual spatial, you absolutely have to start with physical, concrete examples before you ever introduce abstract concepts. Step two is familiarity. Look, sudden changes are disruptive, right? So always use familiar, day-to-day items that your child already feels comfortable with. And step three is building generalization, which is a very specific hurdle we need to manage carefully. Let me explain what I mean by that generalization struggle. Often, children with autism have a really hard time applying a math concept when the scenario changes. For instance, a child might completely understand that 3 apples plus 2 apples equals 5 apples, but the second you change the object, say 3 bags plus 2 bags, boom, total confusion. The math is exactly the same, but the condition changed. Because of this, we have to intentionally practice math using lots of different objects so they learn to generalize the concept across any situation. Moving on to part 2, multisensory number recognition. Okay, so with those principles in mind, we hit our absolute prerequisite. A child has to actually know what numbers are before they can attempt to count them. And we do this through a multisensory approach. This simply means we're throwing in a variety of physical materials and tapping into different senses to make learning fun and effective. And hey, a quick but super crucial tip for caregivers here. When you're doing this, keep your verbal instructions incredibly short and simple. Don't overwhelm them. Let the sensory materials do the heavy lifting, not your voice. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, bring out some brightly colored visual flashcards. Go outside and let them trace giant numbers on the sidewalk with chalk. Have them build tactile number collages out of fuzzy fabrics or sandpaper. Get their ears involved with catchy songs and rhymes. These kinds of tools make recognizing numbers a genuinely engaging experience, rather than just some boring memory drill. Which brings us to part 3, mastering rote counting skills. Right, so how do we systematically build up that essential skill of just saying numbers in the right order? Rote counting is huge for school readiness, and you want to take it step by step. Target 1 is just getting your little one to count to 10. Once they've totally nailed that, you move to target 2, slowly bumping that count up to 20. Sticking to these targets seamlessly sets them up for target 3, which is developing a deep, intuitive number sense. And that is the foundation for quite literally every complex math problem they'll face later on. Next up, part 4, one-to-one correspondence. Okay, this is the magical aha moment where reciting numbers officially meets real physical quantities. Imagine you've got a bin of little toy animals in front of a child. You ask them, "Hey, can you give me 3 animals?" What you're waiting for is the child to physically pick up the first animal and say 1, grab the second and say 2, and grab the third and say 3. We aren't just reciting a song anymore. They're actively matching a spoken word to a physical thing. And that active matching process, that is what we call one-to-one correspondence. It's the understanding of the relationship between counting and what's actually being counted. If a kid doesn't lock down this vital skill, they are going to deeply, deeply struggle with basic math later on. They have to know in their bones that the word 3 literally equals 3 distinct objects. Finally, part 5, using manipulatives for operations. All right, so once number recognition, counting, and correspondence are in the bag, how do we tackle addition, subtraction, or even multiplication? Well, the sources give us a very loud absolute rule here. Do not teach on paper. Use manipulatives instead. I literally cannot emphasize this enough. You've got to keep math physical and completely out of the copybook until the concept clicks in the real world. Writing an equation on a piece of paper is just way too abstract for a child learning this for the first time.
So let me show you how to do this with stuff you already have lying around the house. Let's take multiplication. Step 1, put down 3 erasers, or rubbers, whatever you prefer. Step 2, put down 3 more right next to them. Step 3, have the child count them up, and then you say out loud 3 one time and 3 2 times. You can keep going all day. Only after they physically see with their own eyes that 3 4 times is 12 do you pull out the notebook to write it down. The objects make the math visible.
Or let's look at a really dynamic example for subtraction. Grab some Jenga blocks. Stack up a tower of 5 blocks. Then you tell the child 2 less and physically pull 2 blocks off the tower. Oh, and here's a pro tip. If you're using flashcards, try highlighting operational words like less or take away in red ink. Autistic children are incredibly visual, so color-coding those action words plays perfectly into their strengths. Finally, just have them count the remaining 3 blocks. It's tactile, it's highly visual, and it makes subtraction undeniably real. We've covered a ton of ground today, but I really want to wrap up this explainer with an uplifting reminder straight from the source material. Children learn best when they are having fun. It is really that simple. Whether you're singing silly rhymes, dramatically knocking down Jenga blocks, or getting messy with a glue stick, adding joy is what makes these new skills actually stick. The more fun they have, the faster they learn. When we embrace a child's innate talents and lean into their visual spatial strengths, we are doing so much more than just teaching math. We are building their confidence. So I want to leave you with this question. What multisensory counting game are you going to build for your child today? Look around your house right now. The toys, the snacks, the everyday clutter. Imagine how all of it can become the building blocks for your child's next big breakthrough. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.